What's up, guys? Today's video is going to be about how I became an airline pilot, a little bit about how God, Jesus, helped me get here and make these decisions that led me to being an airline pilot, and yeah, so I'll start it off. So I'll give a little overview first. So first, I worked at a regional airline, Delta wholly owned regional. Flew CRJ 900, 700s. Now I'm currently at a low-cost carrier based in Minnesota. I fly the Tide Pods. So I won't say what airline it is. I fly a Boeing 737, and I'm based in Minnesota. And it's freezing cold here all the time. Hate Minnesota, but could be worse. Better than commuting, I'll tell you that. Commuting's horrible. I commuted for 2 years to New York and Detroit, and I hated it. But, you know, small sacrifices. Driving to work is incredible. Alright, so we'll go to the overview. So when I was in high school, really into motorcycles, as we're riding right now. 2021 KTM 690 Enduro. All types of cool stuff done to it. Just cruise around on gravel roads for this video and killing time. So, really big into cars and motorcycles. I have all kinds of old cars me and my dad used to work on, and all kinds of old motorcycles and new motorcycles, and very into mechanical things. And I don't know how to explain it, but kind of tied into airplane stuff. I was like, oh man, I like riding motorcycles. I like doing cars. I raced cars and motorcycles, drag raced, tiny bit of track stuff. Would never have street raced because that's illegal. But, you know, big into cars, motorcycles, that kind of stuff. Handy. I knew a lot about engines and whatever else, so that actually helped a little bit when I was going through initial training, like private and instrument. Because if you don't know, sometimes that's a bit, for some people, it could be more challenging than others, you know, to try to understand how an engine works. But, so I was in high school. It's probably like a 3.2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know, some low 3 GPA. Not the smartest. I don't know if I ever took any honors classes. I think I took one college credit class, and that was too stupid to pass the test, so I could get credit for it as a college class. But then I ended up doing great in the class, and then I just had to go to college and retake it, which made it easier in college. But it kind of sucked doing it twice because it was a math class. I am horrible at math. You do not need to be good at math to be an airline pilot, if you didn't know that. None of us are. We're all a bunch of pinhead Larrys, I'll tell you that. And struggled through it, but yeah, whatever. Past that, pretty average student. You know, I wasn't stupid. I did good on, I did the bare minimum, if that makes sense. I did my homework, I went to class, I paid attention, but I like failed tests, and I wasn't perfect. It was C's get degrees kind of guy, you know. And then I decided, oh man, what am I going to do for a living? And I was always, my parents weren't rich by any means, but I was not poor either, so I was just like normal family, nothing crazy. My dad was a mechanic for TWA and then American, and then they screwed him over, and so he became a locomotive mechanic at a railroad. So that gives you an estimate. And so I was going through high school, figured I'd just join the military. Always liked that stuff, and never wanted to go to college because I hated school. School was a total waste of time. College was a total waste of time. High school doesn't matter if no one's told you that at all. No one cares. I don't even know where my high school degree is. No one's ever even cared that I had transcripts. All they care is that you graduated. That's it, if you didn't know, at the airlines. And then, so I went through high school. Gives you a baseline, you know, not too in-depth. And then I just had no idea what I was going to do for a degree. So I prayed on it a lot. I talked to God. I was like, man, I just have no idea what I'm going to do. And I did all kinds of research of all kinds of degrees, because I didn't look at jobs. I looked at the degrees, because I had to go to college to get a degree. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, man, all these degrees suck. if it had calculus in it, I couldn't do it because I didn't think I would get through calculus. And at the time, being an airline pilot had calculus in it. So I talked to some of my teachers. They thought I could get through it if I just tried really hard. And so I went ahead and did it. Luckily, they removed calculus out of the airline thing. So that made it an option for me, I guess. But to go back, so I had no idea what I was going to do. And finally, I was like, all right, I'm going to go to college. So I applied to a Kansas State University, went to their flight school. I would have recommended it a long time ago. I'm going to hold my peace on if I'd recommend it anymore. Back then, it used to be a great place to go to school. Got me through super fast. I had 3.5 years from never flown an airplane to CFII, MEI, 1,000 hours. So I went through pretty quick. But I also grinded really hard, took to flying really well. That can't be said for everyone, and it's not normal maybe to go through that easy unless you really grind at it. A lot of other guys, you know, got through pretty quick just like me, and I think I know one person who got through even quicker, so it's not impossible to do, you know, really good. Just some people it takes a long time, some people it doesn't. Regardless, being an airline pilot pays really well, so as long as you don't go too crazy in debt and the industry keeps looking good, you know, you probably have a decent chance of not having to worry too much about all those loans or whatever, if you have to take any out. But so I didn't know what I was going to do. I prayed on it a lot, got accepted into college, looked at every degree K-State offered. They all sucked. I did not want to do a single one of them. I mean, nothing. I genuinely was at a loss. And then the only thing that even remotely looked interesting was being a professional pilot. So I clicked on it. And then I truthfully forgot to change it. I kept praying on it. I watched some Stevo One Canevo videos. He flies like a little TBM around Florida and Island South. Super neat videos. I was like, man, that looks super fun. I was horrified of heights as well, so I can't even ride roller coasters. I still won't go on a roller coaster, and I fly a 7.3 all the time. So take that for what it is. But yeah, so pray to God, and I mean, honestly, I'm not saying don't do any research like I did. Pray and God's gonna push you through, but definitely, you know, God works in mysterious ways. No such thing as a coincidence, and there it is. But so I prayed on it a lot, trusted in God, did a little research, and then I got to the point where I was like, man, I'll just try it for a semester and then switch it if I don't like it, which is a stupid thing to do if you want to become an airline pilot, because you have to pay tons of money to get your private alongside just your classes and degree stuff. So then I get there, and this college was a breeze. I mean, it wasn't even a tenth as hard as high school. There's occasionally you'd have an assignment or two that was kind of annoying or hard, but nothing too bad ever, really super easy. And so yeah, so trusted in God, you know, prayed about it, did a little bit of research, but not much. I had no idea anything. I think I knew there was such thing as private, instrument, commercial. I knew nothing. So I showed up, started doing classes, were easy, breezed through them, did my first flight ever as a private pilot. Was like, hey, this is super fun. I'm not scared of the heights for whatever reason. It became really easy. Breezed through that, got my instrument right at the minimum, like 35 hours, I think, for 141 students. And then, yeah, when I soloed, I didn't even know that was a big deal. I just showed up like any other lesson. I didn't know what solo even meant, so when my instructor got out, I went and did like 3 touch and goes instead of 1, because I didn't even know what was going on. But I flew the plane great, so, you know, I was an idiot all the way through, and it worked fantastic. Don't ever expect it to work like that. I got lucky, you know. You can pray to God all you want, and you may not get lucky like that. So, you know, I take it for what it is. And then did my instrument. Instrument I found kind of challenging. I just didn't like it. It took all the fun out of flying for me. I hated doing it. Don't mind flying instrument in the airlines or anything, but just in GA stuff, for the training for it, just absolutely is miserable to me. So that was whatever. Got through that. Commercial was back to being kind of enjoyable with a bunch of stupid maneuvers that I thought were ridiculous. So it was like, now I get the point, you know, and all the years later, it's showing that you can control the aircraft and you're like fine skills, but back then I hated it. But I got through it and it was a breeze. And then I did, I'm trying to think, commercial, and then I did CFI. CFI was a lot of work. I had a really bad, all my CFIs were great, and I was my private instrument's first student ever for both of them, and he was great. My instrument, or my commercial CFIs were great. And then for CFI, where I was becoming one, my CFI kind of sucked. And yeah, so eventually I just got, I think someone else might have, I think I finished it with her, I can't even remember. But I got through CFI, and that one I still went through pretty quick. Breezed the check ride, I mean, it was super easy. And then after that I did double I, that was super easy, only takes like a short time to do. And then I did MEI outside of my college because they were dragging their feet and I didn't care, so I just went and got it somewhere else, and it was really easy. But this guy passed me. And then oh, bad idea. And then I got my MEI, all that stuff. I think I got IGI, whatever else. Probably missing some steps. Flight school wasn't bad. I instructed for a while. I did other types of little flying things for like FBO guys, flying planes after they did maintenance or something, whatever. Small things, nothing serious. Got a few hours that way, and then got a bunch of hours flight instructing, and flight instructed 141 and part 61. Hated instructing. Liked part 41 instructing a lot more. But there's risks kind of that come with that a little more. And then the 141 is nice and consistent, but it's just stupid. And I had a bunch of students that were from other countries that didn't care about flight training at all. I mean, they wouldn't even show up half the time, and then they wouldn't study, and it was just annoying. And then I had a few normal students like that too, and those guys, you just won't make it through. If you're not going to study, if you're not going to take it seriously, you're not going to become a pilot. You know, there's a lot of guys that they show up to flight school and they don't think they're going to study the homework that you give them, and if you do that, you're not going to be a pilot. You're not going to ever pass a check ride. If you're 141, you'll never pass a prog check. You got to study. You got to know the stuff. I mean, there's just no other way. And honestly, it's easy studying. It's not like a math test, you know? I don't know, you're studying thing, I can't even say it, to be honest. Once you get to the airlines, if you remember this video, and remember when I say airline pilots are like the least knowledgeable pilots ever on GA stuff. Like, we don't know anything. Fly around IFR to class B's all day. It's like a same flight forever, no matter where you go. It's always the same cadence, kind of, it seems like. But back to that, I mean, you memorize little acronyms, tons of slang for sayings and stuff, and then it'll be like 8 tomato flames, all the minimum equipment you need to fly, or 91205 regulation, things like that. Super easy studying. How does your airplane's engine work? Oh, it's a 4-cylinder, flat, horizontal, like a Porsche engine, and it uses gasoline, 100 low lead. I mean, just stupid stuff. Real easy, not bad. And then you get to the airlines, and if you go straight from a 141 school to the airlines, for some people it's a really big jump. Some people, they do better at it. I work at an airline where some people came straight from flying 172s to a 73, and they're like under 50% actually ever pass, I think. And I think it might be better now, but usually you just won't make it. It's just too much to know. And once you get to a major airline, the training is not like the regionals. The regionals do a really good job, actually. They train the piss out of you. They teach you how to do all kinds of stuff that is normal. Like, oh, when you get to work, check in on your whatever crew app you use, or I don't know, here's the kind of bags you need to get. When you go to a major, they don't tell you those things. They assume you're not dumb, or at least mine did. and you just kind of show up and you have to know all that stuff. And I can definitely say if I didn't go to a regional and I came straight to the airline I'm at, 50-50 if I would have made it through. But going to the regional, they baby you through it and really, really teach the crap out of you. It's miserable, but it's an incredible experience but make it as short as you can, because regionals are terrible. It's wasted 4 or 5 legs a day. I don't know, crappy jets. You don't know what you're missing until you get on a big plane and get to do long flights, get to go to other countries, get to go just better quality of life, get to be treated like an adult, kinda. It's a big game changer. Some people are content at regionals, but don't be that guy. Want better. I mean, you can do better for yourself. I don't care if you're 50 years old and you have 4 years seniority at your regional. Leave, go to a real airline. I mean, you'll be much happier. That's my personal thing. And all those people that say they can't afford to leave, you know, a lot of people get to an airline and then they overspend their money, and then they can't take the big pay cut to go to a better airline. But in the long run, you're actually probably making less money staying where they are than taking a pay cut for a year and then having an incredible life after that instead. So be cautious, you know, watch other people's videos, let them explain that. Talk to other co-workers who have been there a long time. They'll help you, give you pointers. Listen to some people, make sure you don't listen to other people. But yeah, so I went through flight training, now I got to the majors. I kind of talk about where I am, super short. But in general, being a pilot, super easy. Fly place to place. Whatever else. But yeah, so picking your major, it's just, I looked at it and I said, oh, this looks like this is going to be an airline, or being a pilot is something that's easy, it's fun, it's mechanical, it fits in with my hobbies. I could definitely see this fitting me well. So I said, okay, I'll try it out. I went there, flew for the first time, realized, oh, this is really easy, this is a lot of fun, but it's expensive, so I need to take it seriously and pay attention and do that. You know, when people tell you study really hard, do your homework, when your CFI tells you to do this or gives you this document with 20 pages, start studying it, because if you don't, you're not going to be successful. But, you know, I picked the major. I said, oh, here, I'm gonna go test it out, and then if I like it, I'll change it. I didn't realize my flight school is not at the main campus, so I had to go live in a tiny town, and it sucked. It wasn't fun. I didn't like it, but then changing my major didn't seem so realistic, and I know through this, I grinded through it, got through. It was pretty easy. You know, flight training's as easy or as hard as you make it. If you don't want to study, you're gonna have a horrible life. I mean, it's gonna be miserable, and you don't even have to be smart. You know, you can be a pretty dumb person and you can become a pilot. It does not take much. Flying airplanes is really easy. It's always like I don't know how to describe it. It's like keeping your eyes open underwater or something, or like a camera when they lift out of the water. You can kind of see things, but it's really blurry. And then they lift it up all the way, and then suddenly you can just see everything, and it's perfectly clear. It's easy to understand. That's kind of what studying aviation and all is like. It's super weird for a little bit, and it's really blurry, and then the longer you do it, the more you kind of starts to clear up, and then one day it's just clear as can be, and you're like, oh, this is a breeze. This isn't bad at all. Super easy. I know what I'm doing. You know, when you first get in your airplane as a private pilot, you're gonna get like tunnel vision. You'll be stressed. Your shirt back's gonna be soaked in water and sweat because you're so nervous and you don't know what you're doing. And then, you know, suddenly you're soloing, and then you're done soloing, you're like, oh, I'm fine. This isn't too bad. I can fly around VFR. I can hold altitude, maybe. And it gets easier, you know, it progressively, like big notches. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a graph where it's really level and you kind of plateau, and then suddenly it just shoots way up, and then you plateau again, it levels off. It really is like that. I mean, you might really be struggling with something, and then just suddenly the next day you got it down. And I don't know how to describe that or make it works, but sometimes you just got to do whatever, try different things, learn new ways, bust through that plateau of learning, and your life will get easier. But yeah, I mean, being a pilot is a pretty good thing. You'll make a ton of money really easiest job in the world. I mean, seriously, it's easy. And there's airlines like Allegiant that you can go to if you never want to do overnights. I think that's changing, but they're merging with, I wonder what airline. But then there's places like Delta or FedEx. You know, you can be gone for 3 days at a time, 2 days at a time, or FedEx or Atlas or whatever, be gone for 17 days at a time, all kinds of things. You know, there's something for everyone. Getting hired is the hard part. You know, if you get into want to be a pilot and you say, oh, I'm gonna go to Delta, I'm gonna do that. Well, if you do propel and you do it all right, maybe you will. You know, maybe you can make that happen. If you're like me, I didn't do any pathway programs. I didn't have to when I went through. It was different times. Now it's more necessary. But yeah, I mean, just be fluid. So when for me personally, on my journey, you know, I figured I'd go to a certain legacy, and then I got to the regionals and I learned about the airlines. I was like, oh man, what am I doing? Kind of hated my job at the regionals. I actually looked at different things outside of, still in aviation, but just outside of the airlines, because I hated my regional life so much, and prayed on it a lot and trusted God with it. And then I eventually, one of my friends came to the airline I'm currently at. I was about to go to Spirit, who just went out of business the other day, so I'm very glad I didn't go there. And then I was going to go to Breeze, who I don't know enough about them, honestly. I probably would have regretted my decision due to not knowing enough about them and then going there. But yeah, so I ended up at the place I'm at, and then I was really happy when I got here. And personally, I interviewed with Delta right at like 1,500 hours, and then got told try again in 3 months or whatever. It's been a little while, more than 3 months, but so I'm just sitting at my airline, you know, trusting in the Lord's path for me. Jesus is His plan, even when I don't understand it. I'm just patient with His, and honestly, I have a great job. I make a ton of money. I'm happy. You know, I have a great life. Everything about my life is really, really good, so I'm not too worried. Some people really stress about it, man, but you know, it's just a job. My life doesn't revolve around being an airline pilot. I trust Jesus more. I trust His plans more, and if God wants me at my airline, then I'll happily stay here forever, and if He wants me somewhere else, then He'll pull me out and I'll go work at another airline. And if I want to move out of Minnesota and be warmer year-round, you know, it's God's plan, not mine. So I trust Him, and whatever it is, and I trust, you know, I don't try to take control. You let Jesus control my life, you know, full surrender to Him. And it might suck a little bit, you know, some days when I'm like, oh, you know, be 23 at Delta, 1,500 hours, I could have had tons of money and seniority and all this, but you know, get over it, whatever. Life can be hard sometimes. It's not perfect. I'm happy where I am. I know I started flying a 7.3 at 23 and making tons of money now, and I'm happy. I have a good job. I have a great place to live. I'm healthy. I'm riding around on a cool motorcycle having fun, and you know, life's not bad. So be content where you are, because I could, you know, I'm not making fun of Spirit guys. I feel horrible for them. I couldn't imagine how sad it would be. You know, some of those guys have been there 30 years. That's crazy. And they just woke up and their job is gone. The airline's gone. But I could have been one of them. You know, I could have got hired at Spirit and been happier, made a couple bucks more an hour or something. And then today, a week ago, woke up and said, wow, I don't have a job. How am I going to pay the bills? You know, you should be saving and always keep an emergency fund of like 6 months, especially if you're going to be an airline pilot. And that's a biblical thing too. Don't have a ton of debt. Don't overspend what you should be. And it protects you from bad things like what happened to Spirit. But yeah, just keep that in mind. Airlines are super volatile, so be careful. Be very careful. But yeah, I mean, imagine being one of those guys at Spirit. I was super excited that they were going to interview me or whatever, and then the current place I'm at called me back within like a day of putting in my app in, which is kind of unusual for airlines. And then I heard all about the cool types of flying that I get to do here, that my current job that I wouldn't get to do there. And so I decided to come to this place, try it out, take a shot in the dark, and boy, am I lucky I did. And life's been fantastic for me, and yeah, I'm super happy. But yeah, imagine being a Spirit guy, that just showing up to work and suddenly your poor management decisions cost you your job, and now maybe you live in a Spirit base, and then Delta hires you, and now you live in like Florida, and suddenly you're a commuter and you have kids at home that are young or something. That's, you know, pray for those guys, because that's going to be hard for them. And I genuinely feel bad for them. And especially like if you were an FO there with low time, Delta, United, American may not pick you up, and now you're like, man, none of these other low-cost carriers are hiring. Do I have to go work at SkyWest flying a CRJ? And, you know, not the worst thing in the world, still pays the bills. No shame in that. I flew a CRJ, so I'm part of the club. But yeah, just remember, trust God, pray to Him over it, and pray about your plans. He'll make them come true if He wants them to. So that should be it. I can make a ton more videos about airline stuff. I'm kind of cut through that quickly, but I figured I'd make something of the video about how I'm a pilot and what I do for a living. But yeah, I never planned on being a pilot, never planned on going to the airlines, planned on joining the military, and who knows, but my path changed, and I trusted in God all the way through it, and now I'm happy at my job, living a good life. And yeah, I'll make some more videos about being a pilot and airline stuff for you guys, and talk about private pilot, getting through that, and getting through commercial and whatever else. So look out for those videos. Yeah, we'll just cut it there. See you.